right now, we're going to roll out our new segment. It's our draft pick review / depth chart. And this week, we're going to start from our 7th round pick and move up all the way to our number 1 pick. Tonight, we're going to talk tight end Nick Muse, the Vikings 7th round pick, 227 overall from the University of South Carolina.
I think I'm very versatile in the pass game. I feel like I can, run the routes needed to run, especially at this level. And I feel like I can hold my own in the run game. So I feel like I can do it both. And I think I'm going to be ready for when the time comes. And blocking people like DJ Wanham, who is on the Vikings. He played with me at South Carolina. So I've got experience against, guys who play at this level. So just knowing that, and I feel like I can be a deep threat and I can be a short game. If you need me 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, I can be a guy that they can rely on for the most part. When I got the call and I knew I was, headed up to Minnesota, I felt relieved that, the call was there, but, the draft is just a perception and playing on Sundays is the real reality. So when you see it that way, that, the job's not finished. You got to go in there and you got to compete to be a guy. And whether it's on special teams or, being one of the top tight ends for the team, that's what I'm going to do.
Drew, what are your thoughts on young Mr. Muse?
I like the draft pick. I think we needed a tight end, and it went along the line. We were running out of time, and I was thinking, we're not going to get a tight end. We lost Conklin. We need a tight end. 7th round pick. I love the guy's size, 6'5", 250, Ted. He's probably the biggest tight end I think we have. His brother, Tanner, was a 3rd round pick in 2020 by the Raiders.
Really?
And Nick Muse, when he was in high school, was a linebacker. 2-time state player of the year at linebacker, defensive player of the year. For 2 years in a row, he started out at South Point High School in North Carolina. Same high school as wide receiver Corin Robinson, the great Viking Corin Robinson. They went to the same high school. He played linebacker and he played tight end. 2-time player of the year as a linebacker. And then he attended William and Mary right out of college. He had a lot of good production at William and Mary, but, William and Mary is there at 17 and 18. He was a freshman, 17. William and Mary transferred to South Carolina. And he's one of those rare guys, Ted, that ended up getting 5 years of college eligibility without a red shirt. 11 catches, 222 yards, 20 catches, 222 yards, and 2 touchdowns. They're not really eye-popping off the charts, but South Carolina was switching quarterbacks every week. Their offense was just dismal. It'd be hard for anybody to survive in the South Carolina offense.
So what do you like about him?
I like the fact that he's kind of a Stu Voigt type. He's kind of a short to mid-range kind of tight end. He's not going to juke people out to get open. He's going to have to use more of his route running ability to get open.
Is he going to go to prison for securities fraud in the future? I just want to know. You might want to cut him now and save all the pain and agony if that's going to be the case.
Stu, if you're watching, we kid because we care. Whatever that saying is. I hope not, Ted. The part that you got to like about him is he's a solid short to mid-term tight end, receiving wise. He's a very smart player. He's got a lot of experience. He played on both sides of the ball. So being a linebacker, he kind of knows how linebackers are looking at him. Mm-hmm. And I think that helps if you played on both sides of the ball. He's not much of a blocker, Ted, and that may wash him out of the league. I'm not saying he's a terrible blocker, but he does not very explosive off the line of scrimmage. As a tight end, he's got so many other solid areas that you can work with. I think he does have a future. I think they want to turn him into Tyler Conklin. I do.
Okay.
Every door is open for that.
You look at the Vikings depth chart, I think is very muddled after Irv Smith Jr. Assuming he comes back healthy, he'll be your top guy. Behind him, you've got the key free agency signing of the offseason, Johnny Munt. Then you've got Zach Davidson, Ben Ellison, and young Mr. Muse.
And I'll point out to you, Ted, we got 5 tight ends on this roster, right?
Yes.
Totaling 13 years of NFL experience. That's it.
That's it?
That's it. Munt and Irv Smith control 9 of those years. So out of the other 3 guys, there's only 4 years of NFL experience. The Vikings are extremely young at tight end, extremely young. If you look at Munt's numbers, he's no receiver. He's a blocker.
Yeah. Well, they need a blocking tight end, though, too.
They do. And he's a better blocker than Muse. It's just the fact that what would you rather teach to a guy, blocking or receiving for your tight end?
Yeah. I would think in the O'Connell offense, you'd want more of a pass-catching tight end.
Right. But you're not going to bring Johnny Munt over and then cut him. Are they going to hold 3 on the starting roster?
I think it kind of depends on what they're going to do with C.J. Ham. If they're going to use C.J. Ham, I'm thinking 3, maybe 4. I mean, and you figure Irv Smith Jr. and Munt are probably close to being locks for the roster. So that leaves maybe 1 or 2 spots between Davidson, Ellison, and Muse.
Exactly how I look at it.
Yeah. Do you see Muse either beating out Davidson or Ellison this year?
I think it's an equal race all the way on there because they got, Ellison certainly got the experience and he's got some size as well. And he's a really good tight end himself. I think it's a pretty much even going right into it. I mean, the fact that DJ Wanham's probably speaking up for Muse because they played together at South Carolina. Matter of fact, Muse's best friend on South Carolina is DJ Wanham's younger brother, Dylan Wanham.
Really?
Yeah, Dylan Wanham and Nick Muse were like their best friends at South Carolina. Dylan Wanham is a really, really good offensive tackle who's coming up through the ranks. He'll be having his senior year there at South Carolina. But Dylan Wanham will be a guy we can look at next year during our draft roundup. Comes to the Wanham family, they'll be speaking up for Nick Muse. Like I said, the blocking stuff, it's going to be a work in progress. If he doesn't work out as a blocker, he probably won't work out at all.
So do you think he's a good candidate for the practice squad then?
Yes. Him, Ellison, and Davidson. Man, that is a 3-way race to see who gets that 3rd spot. And
if you figure Irv Smith Jr. is going to be the Tyler Higbee role, Munt is probably going to just reprise his role from what he did with the Rams. Although they talked about him being more involved in catching the ball, becoming like a Tyler Conklin type. I hope he makes it, but I'm looking at this roster of tight ends, and I'm thinking, barring an injury or something, he's going to have a hard time leapfrogging Ellison and Davidson to get that 3rd spot. But that's just me.
If he can't pick up the blocking, he's going to be limiting his downs, which means he limits his play. And if you don't play, you end up like Sloth eating the baby roof.
Last thing, do you think Nick Muse will make the final 53-man roster, yes or no?
I hate doing this because all the guys we predicted last year didn't make it. I am going to say he does not make the final 53.
I'm going to agree. I'm going to say no. Does he make it onto the practice squad?
Yes.
I'm going to say no to the roster, yes to the practice squad. So we are both no, yes to practice squad. Yeah, he's a Tyler Conklin type. I just don't think he's going to be that guy this year.